explain the ISEG MBA. And then I'm going to focus my attention in the one specific area, which is the area where we have this partnership with Técnico Lisboa. And this is exactly what I'm going to invite Arlindo to talk a little bit about technology, future of technology, and the way that the students of the program will have an impact of from this partnership. So let me share my screen very briefly. I'm Paulo Carvalho. I'm the executive director of the ISEG MBA. We redesigned the program in the beginning of this year. Just to give you a few notes about the program and about the ISEG MBA. So it's going for the 37th edition. So it's a long history behind our MBA, from one of the best economics and management schools in Portugal, integrated or belonging to the biggest university in Portugal, University of Lisbon. Just to give you an idea, University of Lisbon has more than 50,000 students, so it's a big university. And it's an executive MBA, so it happens after work hours, 3 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And the redesign of the program brings some important changes to the program, to the MBA. I'm not going to explain in detail the MBA, but I'm going to give you just an idea of the program. So first of all, we are organizing these webinars as a way to present some of the changes and the partners that we somehow were able to bring to the program. So we start with Rita Alemão. She explained about the leadership of personal development area of the program. Then we had Oliveira from the World Economic Forum. The World Economic Forum is one of our global partners, and he explained a little bit about how they are going to bring some key distinctive features to the program. We had last week Miguel Fontes, the executive director of Startup Lisboa. Startup Lisboa is bringing different kind of things to the program regarding entrepreneurship. And today we have Arlindo Oliveira from talking about technology disruption, digital transformation, and how Técnico is going to bring some really value added to the program. Next week we'll have Rui Quinta Tiago Nunes talking about design thinking, strategic design. And the last one will be from Lácio Nassan, one of the directors of the Copenhagen Institute for Future Studies. So if we can somehow present our MBA in a nutshell, this is what you can expect from the program. Of course, we have the core courses that every MBA is obliged. So you need to have this kind of a core courses of fundamentals if you are going to make an MBA. And this is the kind of thing that you can expect. And you need to expect this with quality. And this is exactly what ISEG has at its core. So it's the financial, the economics, the functional areas of any company. And this is where the core of the program is structured. The main change to the program, one of the main changes to the program was this kind of transformation of the leadership of personal development, where we have two layers, the leadership journey and the personal development plan. So each student starts the program with an individual assessment, a personal assessment regarding not only his professional life and expectations, but also its personal life. And the idea is to have this kind of a journey into their own future. So we want all the participants to develop their own future plans, and we will guide them into this journey. We will have a couple of applied learning modules, and of course, one of the key distinctive features of the program is the 3 immersive experiences that we have. We have a partnership with this University of San Francisco, and we will have 1 week, a 1 week immersive experience in Silicon Valley. We are going to have like a mirror experience in Lisbon. We are going to have an immersive experience in the entrepreneurial ecosystem in Lisbon, curated by Startup Lisboa, and we have a weekend with the Air Force Academy in the beginning of the program. But let me focus my attention on the strategic stream. So one of the main changes and one of the key redesign parts of the program was the capability to bring into the program this idea of thinking about the future of the digital and technology disruption, bring design thinking, strategic agility, operational agility, entrepreneurship, the lean startup, all the things around entrepreneurship, the business model canvas, all these concepts and the way of doing things regarding entrepreneurship, and of course, sustainability and governance. So for each one of these streams, we invited what we call global partners. And this is where you can see the World Economic Forum and the Copenhagen Institute for Future Studies on the global future stream. So how can you explore global trends? How can you bring driving force? How can you take the best out of these uncertainties and the complexity and volatility that we are living today into your company? So, the University of San Francisco started Lisboa on stream 2 on entrepreneurship innovation, with company on design and agility, and Técnico, of course, on technology disruption and digital transformation. So I'm going to ask very briefly Arlindo to talk a little bit about what kind of things we can expect when we have a curricular unit around data science, but we want also Técnico to bring keynotes and give some master classes on some of the most important areas regarding digital, not only digital technology transformation that can go from robotics, automation, IoT to AR and VR. So let me start by very briefly presenting Oliveira. I'm going to ask him to present himself much better than I can, but I'm going to give him not the floor. We don't have any floor, but I'm going to invite him to, first of all, of course, present himself, talk a little bit about himself. He's a distinguished professor, full professor at Técnico Lisboa. He was the former president of Técnico. And so I'm going to ask him to start by presenting himself, and then talk a little bit about his work, and also a little bit about, and I'm going to invite him to talk about Técnico. I think that most of the people in Portugal knows about Técnico, but I'm going to invite him to start talking about himself and also about Técnico. So Arlindo, thank you so much for accepting the invitation, and please, the floor or this space is yours.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me? Okay. So, first of all, just a brief word about myself. As Paul was saying, I'm a professor at Técnico, the Department of Computer Science and Engineering. I studied in Berkeley, in California, and I've been in a couple of places, CERN, Cadence Labs, and a number of other places. I wrote also a few books on the topics of artificial intelligence and digital technology, and I run a blog posting less frequently than I would like to. As for Técnico, I guess most of you know Técnico, but just a very brief note about the school itself. We have 3 campi: the historical campus in Alameda, which was built in the late 30s, a new campus outside the city in Tagus Park, and a 3rd campus that is dedicated to nuclear technology. It is a big school. We have about 12,000 students, 82 degrees, and as you can see from the stats, is a fairly large school with a fairly large budget, which is mostly supported by research and technology transfer activities. As for the international positioning, you can see here that we are, in all the rankings, we are the first engineering school in Portugal, and we are also very well placed in Europe, where we usually come, well, within the first 20 to 25th positions in general. And so we are actually very proud of being considered one of the best schools of engineering in Europe. Those are the 38 graduate programs we have, which covers all fields of technology, from aerospace engineering, computer science, telecommunications, data science, and so on. And our research is organized in these 7 areas. So there is the central focus on basic sciences. And then we have these 6 areas of materials and nanosciences, engineering and production technologies, energy, environment and mobility, information and communication technologies, and applied life sciences. And within which of these fields, of course, we have a number of centers and a number of lines of research. We have some 2,000 researchers, PhD researchers working in these 7 areas. A large number of companies have been created. We run an ecosystem called the Técnico Lisbon spin-off, which is basically where we integrate the companies that reach a certain level of a certain dimension and were created or incubated at Técnico. And of course, they exist in all these areas: ICT, robotics, biotechnology, environment, aeronautics, and space. Also, we belong to a large number of international networks, academic networks. I will not cover them all, but 2 at least I'll just give a brief note. One of them is Cluster. Those are the 12 universities in Cluster. As you can see, we have all the big names there, well, almost all the big names, but the UK is not so well represented. But you have all the big technology universities in Europe: EPFL, KTH, Aalto, Catalonia, Eindhoven. So we are proud to be in this very select club of 12 technological universities in Europe. And we also belong to CISA, which is a larger network, which includes all maybe the 60 top engineering schools and universities in Europe. So our integration in these international networks enabled us to have a very international activity. Our students, a large fraction, if not the majority of our students, spend at least some part of their degrees abroad. And there's a large number of students also taking double degrees between Técnico and one of these schools. And so I think this was basically what I wanted to share with you in what regards the presentation of Técnico. I can stop this now. So what can Técnico bring to this MBA, to this renewed MBA that ISEG is launching? Of course, we are very proud and very happy to cooperate with ISEG. It's our sister school in the University of Lisbon. We were actually, both schools were created in the same day in 1911, so we were sort of twins by birth. We actually originated from the same school previously to that. So we have a long-standing partnership with ISEG, and of course it's with pleasure that we contribute to adding a touch of technology that becomes is becoming ever more important in all fields of economics. The idea, of course, the technology has many fields. And there are many aspects of technology that include materials, biotechnology, civil engineering, mechanical engineering, and so on, that are relevant and are important, of course, but are not so directly related with management and business. But of course, we have a very important discipline, which is data science, that I think is relevant, directly relevant for anyone willing to go into management and business. Therefore, I think it was in good time that ISEG decided to ask us to help in lecturing this course on data science, which is something that I will do with the cooperation of some colleagues from Técnico. We will complement this course on data science, which will go a little bit, I mean, it's not, of course, we have a full master's degree in data science, so we cannot go to the same depth. But we want to give you some concrete details and some concrete techniques on how you can use data science and data management to improve your knowledge of the companies and of the processes and improve the quality of management. And then we'll complement this in-depth, well, somewhat in-depth teaching of data science with some master classes on other technologies like virtual reality, robotics, blockchain, advanced materials, and so on, that we believe are important for anyone to know, not to be using in practice, but to know that they exist and that they are contributing to the fourth industrial revolution that we are witnessing these days, which has been put in hold a little bit in the last 2 months, or maybe not, because these last 2 months have actually contributed to advance a lot of the digital technologies that are at the heart of the fourth industrial revolution. Other than this, I wrote a couple of books. You may have noticed that on AI and on digital transformation, and I will be glad to focus on some of the topics that I cover on those books. Namely, that I believe that artificial intelligence will play an ever-increasing role in economics, that companies will benefit more and more in the next years from AI techniques that will replace partially, in a growing percentage, human labor, skilled human labor, not unskilled human labor. Unskilled human labor was replaced mostly in the first industrial revolution. And now in this industrial revolution, we are starting to replace skilled human labor. Skilled in the sense that these are intellectual tasks that require intelligence and abilities. Things like medical diagnosis, legal analysis, driving vehicles, and so on are activities that will be partially replaced in the next decades for AI systems, and therefore I believe that the general area of AI, not only data science, which is an important application of AI, but the general area of AI will play an increasingly important role in the management of organizations in the next decades. And I think this was mostly what I wanted to share with you. I'm willing to answer any questions or doubts that you may have. Paulo?
Yes, let me just ask you something about, okay, so we are going to have like a module, curricular unity, around 20 hours on the, 20 hours around on data science. I know that you have a different kind of much longer programs, but you are also designing it with a technique, and also in some of these cases with ISEG, some executive programs on data science, on mastering data science, these kind of things. What exactly is data science, and what a student that will not be an expert, of course, will not be a data scientist with a very limited number of hours, but what kind of topics, what kind of things someone can expect to learn, and what exactly is the importance of data science, of machine learning, this way of working with the big data visualization. What is the impact in any company or in any industry that you can somehow highlight? So the first thing is, what kind of topics can a student expect to have from this kind of model? And then what kind of implications all these technologies you can somehow highlight in companies or in specific industries?
So the first part is giving the students a general, the ability to appreciate that data is probably one of the most important assets in a company, right? The largest companies in the world, the top 5, they all owe the value they are worth to the data they have, right? Google's, Amazon's, but also Apple's and Facebook's is basically the data they have that gives them the value they have. Almost $1 trillion valuations, right? And this is more general even for smaller companies. So the most important asset many companies have is the data they have, and we have to be able to explore that. What is the data used for? Well, the data can be used to gain competitive advantages in marketing and sales. The data can be used to improve internal processes and increase internal efficiency. And the data can be used to drive innovation and new products and development of new products. So we have to be able to understand that what is stored in the databases of the companies, usually in the databases of the companies, sometimes in other places, is probably more important, for instance, for Amazon than the physical facilities they have. And this is true for many companies. So data is, someone said, is the oil of the 21st century, and we have to know how to explore that oil. But this is a general consideration that I think most people already know about this. So what we'll try to do in this course is to give you concrete tools to understand how you can actually mine, how you can actually extract value from data by using specific tools, by applying machine learning techniques to derive tendencies, to infer rules, to find which customers are likely to buy some product, or to what products to recommend to someone who has already bought some products, or which customers are likely to buy some more expensive product that your company has. So all these sorts of things, marketing, upselling, cross-selling, those are techniques that you will learn and you will understand how to use and benefit of the companies. And we will provide you with concrete software experience, hands-on experience that will enable you not to become a developer of these tools. That's not the idea. This is not sufficient, but to become knowledgeable enough that you can understand what they do, and you can ask for people to develop these tools for you. You can create the specifications for these tools, and you can ask for these technologies to be applied in whatever specific domains you are going to work. So the objective of this course in data science is more than just give you a general idea about data science, is to provide you with specific and concrete knowledge about tools, techniques, and strategies to explore data and extract value from that.
One of the reasons, or the decision to bring Técnico as a partner of a management program, sometimes it's not so obvious to bring an engineering school to be an important partner of a management program. The MBA is the most important program that an economics and management school can bring to the market, and it's so the idea of talk with and bring Técnico was to not to bring someone that also knows about technology and engineering, but to bring someone that really knows about it. So the idea that you will not be an engineer, but you will have the perspective of someone that really knows about the technology, that will make a difference. And this capability of bringing together the engineering, the technology, the economics and the management, the design, and also these new ways of thinking about new value, entrepreneurship, this lean startup, these kind of things. It's a strong movement, and of course the soft skills, which is something really important in every MBA today. What is your idea about this capability of bringing together different kind of fields that at least in our schools is something that is not so present in some of the most important programs that you can find. You have all of these, but this combination is sometimes not so easy to find on the market. It is something that will be important in the future. It's something that it makes sense. What is your opinion about this?
Of course, you are aware of the high demand that exists today for people that are the technology savvy, right? People that know how to develop systems, how to specify systems in information systems. My personal opinion is that managers that do not know enough about information systems and data science are not able to fully exploit the potential of their companies or their institutions. And therefore, I think so any business school can provide high-level ideas about data science or technology or so on. So that is not so hard. There are many articles, many books on that. But partnering with an engineering school gives you a different view, because you can learn from people that are actually developing systems, people that can predict what sort of technologies will be in place 5 years from now and with less security 10 years from now. So it's different from just learning from general ideas or fairly high-level books about what technology is and data science is. or to learn from people that are actually developing the tools of the future, that can tell you what a convolutional neural network can do today and will be able to do 5 years from now, how much it will cost to train a system to do, I don't know, a video vigilance of a particular space in a company. Can you do that? Can you do face recognition for the people that are entering some place and so on? So I think when you partner with an engineering school, you get this sort of in-depth understanding of the technology that you cannot do if you just hire business savvy people to develop this. And I believe, of course, I'm biased because I work in an engineering school and I was president of Técnico for many years, but I really believe that engineering schools have a lot to add to business programs because they understand technology in depth and they can provide you not only what technology can do today, but also with an idea of technology we'll be able to do tomorrow.
And regarding not the data science model, but the other master classes, we are calling them master classes. So it's like some deep dives into some of the most important areas that are.
This, of course, yeah, this is more general, of course, than data science. I've been focusing on data science, but the idea that we can have master classes on things as diverse as blockchain, right? What is blockchain? What is the potential future of blockchain? Will it revolutionize business? Will it make money disappear, traditional money disappear? So this is something that you can get of course, from the newspapers and from everywhere. But unless you talk with someone who is actually developing the protocols, who understands the limitations, who understands the possibilities, you do not get an in-depth understanding. And the same goes for robotics, for new materials, for biotechnology, for genetics, for new mechanical technology and so on. So it goes for all of this, and I think it's really very different to be learning from the people that are developing the technology, that are at the front edge of technological development, or just to read. You can read the newspapers. Anyone can read the newspapers, and the web is full of news. But that's not the same thing, because you have to. If you learn from someone who is actually developing things, you can actually learn in much more depth and have a deeper understanding of what the potential of the technologies is.
And the Técnico, you have amazing research centers. If you talk about robotics or automation, we have incredible research centers, and it will be very interesting, very easy for you to bring the best people that are just somehow on the forefront of research and also the transformation of so many things that robotics and automation are bringing to the industries, to the companies, to our real life. The same with IoT or what is happening in 5G, or the same on blockchain. Can you just tell something about Técnico? What exactly are the most important areas or research centers? I know some of them, but you are really strong in some of these areas. So it's not just it's a very big faculty, a very big school that can bring really strong power to these kind of areas and fields.
Yeah, well, it will be a bit tiring to go through all the research centers. There are simply too many. I think there are 22 at the moment. As I said, we have about 2,000 PhD researchers and as many, so in total maybe 4,000 people working in these 22 research centers. And they cover almost all fields of science and technology. I can just give you an idea. I will not go through them all, but so we have one that focuses on robotics, one that focuses in mechanical technology, energy, combustion engines, and so on. One that focuses on naval engineering, one for biotechnology, one for materials engineering, which is heavily focused on new materials like graphene and superconducting materials. We have one in civil engineering, of course. We also have one in management. In math, we have 2 or 3 in math, which are farther away from the technology. And so this just gives you, and of course, in ICT, we have 3. We have one mostly in software and databases and information systems, one for telecommunications, and the other one, as I referred to, in robotics. Also, we have one in physics. We have very good centers in physics. For energy, we have one that is just dedicated to fusion energy, one for particle physics, and one for astrophysics and gravitation. So I'm probably listed about 12 or so. There are a few missing, but you can get an idea from the fields that we cover. And I will not focus on anyone in particular, because most of them, like more than 2/3 of them, obtain the maximum classification from the Portuguese government on the quality of their research. So they are all very good. And most of them are well known internationally, and they have international connections with all the universities I referred to a while ago. So as you can see, we can, depending on how you want to organize that, we can get master classes on fields that go from fields as different as fusion energy to black holes and robotics. So we are, of course, black holes are not very likely to have an impact on management in the next few years, but it still could be interesting.
You never know. But one of the things that
particle physics is surprising, because particle physics is actually behind the advances in medical imaging that are enabling us to get higher and higher resolution of medical images. So you can get the advances in sensors enable you to get higher and higher resolution for medical imaging, and that is being powered in large part by CERN, the European Center for Nuclear Research. And one of our centers, actually more than one, but one of our centers is especially focused in working with CERN in high energy particle physics. So you never know. Black holes, though, we still did not find any application for black holes.
Yeah, so I don't think we are going that direction in this next edition.
Yes, I know. I'll just give you an idea. No, actually, I know this is not so obvious, because several people from this MBA may be interested to work in health management. So
yes,
health management. So I mean, if you health management, we have specialists in Técnico that go from the technology to the economics of health. So.
So just for the people that are thinking about the MBA, the ISEG MBA, this partnership with Técnico was designed as focusing in one specific area that we strongly believe it's much more appealing, and it has a huge and immediate impact on every organization, on any industry. So it's this data science space. But then we have this kind of master classes in different areas that we were talking about. But I really hope, and it was amazing the way that you just embraced this challenge, also this invitation to bring together these two faculties, these two schools, and do something on the MBA. But I believe this can be just the beginning of the A partnership, because there is so many things that can grow, not only inside the MBA, but I'm talking because I'm the director of the MBA, but there are so many things that we can do together and foster and do really interesting things in the combination, in integration, this holistic view of engineering, technology, economics, management, entrepreneurship, and some other areas that I believe this will be a journey that will somehow develop in different ways that in the future. I really hope so. So let me just end the webinar with well, you give a lot of keynotes. You somehow, I would like to ask you, during this really extreme situation that we are living with, the pandemics, with the COVID-19, when you look into the future, what is your feeling about the evolution? What the main transformations you just witnessed, and what kind of expectations you have for the future? If you could just pick one or two topics from your books and your keynotes, what kind of a topic would you select to somehow make some kind of?
I will just select one idea that I think is particularly strong. So the idea that economic value these days is obtained by applying intelligence to problems, right? It used to be that physical labor was very important, right? The human strength, human force was paid. But the first industrial revolution changed that. So now we have engines and we have electricity and so on. So human power, human force is not so important these days. A very large fraction of economic value is actually paid by lifting heavy weights or pulling or pushing, whatever. Most of the economic value is obtained by applying intelligence to problems, right? Processing information, diagnosing diseases, reading legal papers, and providing legal advice. So this is all application of intelligence to problems, right? And as artificial intelligence evolves, it will be able to replace more and more of these tasks. So there is an enormous economic value in understanding AI and applying AI to specific tasks. AI systems will not replace humans in general, but they will progressively replace more and more of specific human labor, right? So legal companies will have AI systems drafting contracts and analyzing contracts and protocols and so on. And hospitals will have AI systems diagnosing or providing the first diagnosis for diseases, and robotics will replace surgeons in simple procedures. So the idea is that AI will become responsible for generating a larger and larger part of the income of companies in the future. And we have to understand this, and we have to do two things. One thing is to use this to our advantage. This is a force that cannot be stopped. We have to use this to our advantage, and we have to learn how to be on the right side of this revolution. And the second thing, we have to position ourselves so that we benefit from these changes and not be negatively affected by them. Right? You don't want to select a job that will be easily automated in 5 or 10 years, right? If you are 30 years and you have 40 years ahead of you, you don't want to pick a job that will be easily replaced, at least partially, by an AI system. You want to find positions and to find occupations that are on the right side of this revolution. And this revolution will be very deep, because if you think, almost any repetitive job can be automated by AI. And therefore, almost any person that does a repetitive job can be at least partially replaced by an AI system. And this pandemic will only increase that, because businesses noted that they are too dependent on the availability of people. They are afraid that this will last for a while, or that some next pandemic will come. So there will be a huge pressure for automation and for using intelligence in the businesses. And therefore, AI will keep being a very important force in the next decades in the transformation of business. And you have to understand this, and you have to be on the right side of these revolutions. I think that is the strongest idea that I would like to pass now. People want probably to go for dinner. And
let me, Arlindo, just to close, let me share with you that we have in many applications, and some interviews that we are making for the next edition of the MBA are coming from engineers, and some of them from technical. And one of the things, of course, an engineer or someone that has a management role or wants to somehow have a different kind of a position in a company, they want to get some kind of skills and knowledge on the more management part of the program. But all of them, they are really interested in this partnership with Técnico, which is really interesting. So it's even people that come from Técnico are interested in this partnership, and they really want to be part of this. So they want to get something that comes from the engineering side, the technology side, which is a very interesting sign of this holistic thing that the MBA can offer to someone that is investing strongly in a program. So it's a good sign that what kind of things people want in the future.
Okay. So that it's good to know that people from Técnico also want to get a little bit more from Técnico, but also from the MBA. So I'm glad to know that.
Yes. So Arlindo, thank you so much. It was really a pleasure. We will get more information, more details about this partnership and the ways that the Técnico going to bring and integrate this kind of stuff into the program in the next weeks. So thank you so much, and hope you keep safe. Okay.
Bye bye. Thank you. It was a pleasure to be
Bye-bye.
here. Bye bye.
Bye.